Woo, we made it. We've got Everin here with us today. They come from the Indianapolis area and were with us last year, and we thought it would be fantastic to wrap our day up with the power of play. So Everin, take it away.
Hello, hi. So my name is Everin, and we're actually going to start off and do a considerable amount of our work where we can move around together a little bit. And so if I can invite y'all to come back into like this open space back here with me, that would be great. If you, don't worry about, if you want to, we have chairs nearby. If you want to grab a chair, we can grab one as we go. But right now we're going to go back here and stand in a circle. If you are a sitter though, and you would like or need to sit, please do sit. I will invite you to adjust anything as you might need to. So the description of this said this is play from beginning to end, and that is true. We're going to start right off with a game from the get-go. So this game is called Good Day. If you did my session last time, you've played this game before. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to go up to someone and shake their hand and say, you're going to say your name. I'm going to say, hi, I'm Everin. You're going to say,
hi, I'm China.
And then we're going to keep shaking hands like this, and we can't let go of each other's hands until, hi, I'm Everin.
Hi, I'm Whitney.
Hi, and now I can let go of China's hand, and now, right, and then you would be also looking for another hand to shake, right? So you basically can't let go of someone's hand until you have another hand, okay? All right. Yeah, and we can do a quick, we can have a break for hand sanitization after this game for sure. Okay, any questions before we jump into this first game? It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, all right, grab someone by the hand, shake their hand, introduce them. Introduce yourself.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm Alex.
I'm Everin.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Everin.
Hey, Everin, I'm Mandy.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Reagan.
Hi, Reagan, hi.
Hello.
Everin, nice to meet you. I'm gonna jump out.
Wait.
Go for it here.
I'm China.
Okay, we're gonna jump right into our next game, and you need a partner. So maybe it's the person who you're currently attached to by the hand. Pick a partner and face them. Does everybody have a partner? If you need a partner, wave your hand in the air like this. Okay, we're good. All right, so this is a game called 2x3 by Bradford. You'll see a lot of the games that I name, like, they have strange names. The names don't really matter. They're just kind of what we know them as. And these are all games from what we call the arsenal of the theater of the oppressed. It's really a book called Games for Actors and Non-Actors, which we always joke we shouldn't just be called games, right? Games for everyone, right? With your partner, you're going to count to 3. And you're going to count to 3, one number at a time. So I would say 1,
2,
3. Go back to 1.
1,
2,
3,
1,
2.
3, right? So it's a little tricky. Okay, so we're gonna start with that. Just start with that. Just keep counting to 3 with your partner, all right? Go. Okay, it seems like this is really easy. No. Now, instead of saying 1, whoever would normally say 1, you're gonna make up a new thing for 1. It should have a sound and a movement to it. So maybe your 1 is woo, and then so you would go woo, 2, 3, woo, 2, 3, right? Okay, it's gonna get loud in here. And feel free if you want to spread out a little bit more, right? We can use more of this space. Feel free to spread. Okay, so figure out who's starting, who's gonna be 1, and then go. Now, change number 2. You know it. We've played this before. Yes. So yes, thanks. It's a good question. So if 1 was woo, 1 is still woo, but now 1 is woo, and 2 is. All right. I mean, it's not that. It's whatever you want it to be. Okay. Go. All right. You can probably guess what's coming next. Is 3, right? So keep whatever your 1 is, keep whatever 2 is, and now 3 is something. So now every number has a new sounded movement to it, right? Go. All right, go ahead and stop. Now I'm gonna ask you to do something else with this. I'm gonna ask this pair right here to do their 3 numbers, but I want everyone else to close your eyes and just listen. And then we're gonna listen to them do it a few times, right? Listen, and then the next thing will be to work with your partner to try to figure out what the movement is that goes with the sounds that they're making. All right? So if I could ask everyone, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. If you prefer not to close your eyes, turn around so that you're not looking over here. All right. And I'm just going to hold the mic in between, I guess, to see and if you two can be nice and loud. All right? And no peeking. Okay, go.
Apple. Woo! Shark. Apple. Woo! Shark. Apple. Woo! Shark.
Okay, we get it? Apple, woo, shark. All right, so you open your eyes or turn back around and face your neighbor or your partner and talk for a second and try to decide what you think the movements were that they did for those sounds. Okay. What pair? Who wants? What pair wants to show us your guess? Yeah. Okay. Show us. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me see another one. Can I see another one? Let me see the two of you. Okay. Any other guesses? Yes. Okay, you did. So you did it just like that? Just like that? Anybody else do it totally differently? Yeah, show me. Yeah. Okay. Okay, all right. My first group, show us what yours was. So some of these are pretty close. All right, we're gonna play one more quick game, and we're gonna get into a big circle, if we could, please. And in this, we're just gonna go around, and I would like you. We're gonna go one at a time, and it's a big group, so we'll try to go quickly. You're gonna step forward. I want you to say your name with a movement to it. So I might go, Everin, right? Everin. I'm gonna step in the circle. I'm gonna do it twice. Step back. Everyone else is gonna step forward, do the same thing. So then all of you would go, Everin. And then we go to the next person, right? Just a kind of a fun way for us to hear everybody's names in the room and move a little, okay? Can we start right here? All right, step in the circle and give us a movement with your name and do it twice.
Destiny.
Do it one more time.
Destiny.
All right, and Destiny. I didn't give you the mic, so I want to make sure everybody hears it. All right, so now everybody else steps in. Destiny. One more time.
Destiny.
Yes, thank you. Next.
Tara.
Tara. Kate. Okay. Kelly. Ashley. Ashley. Chloe. Chloe. Dalen. Dalen. Yes. Emma. Emma. Lindsay. Lindsay. Ooh. Cat. Cat. Lee. Lee. Stephanie. Stephanie. Mandy. Mandy. Yes. Shelby. Shelby.
Don't tell my chief.
Cole. Cole. China. China. Whitney. Whitney.
Dave.
Dave. Dave.
Alex.
Alex. Alex.
Darcy.
Darcy. Darcy.
Jackie.
I like that. Jackie. Jackie. Blessing. Blessing. Anabea. Anabea. Aaron. Aaron. Stephanie. Stephanie. Elizabeth. Elizabeth. Angie. Angie. Ruth. Ruth. Priscilla. Priscilla. Pat. Pat. Nikki. Nikki. Reagan. Reagan. Emmy. Emmy. Laura. Laura. Lindsay. Lindsay. Sierra. Sierra. All right. Thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. So most of our stuff will actually be back here. I'm gonna go into like a brief like talking and information sharing, and I'm gonna try to make it really, really short because I have lots more games and things I want us to do. But if you would like to sit, feel free to grab a chair and bring it into the circle. Sit on the floor if you want to sit at one of these close tables. That way we don't have to like go back and forth and back and forth. We can kind of stay close. So also, there aren't a lot of slides, but if you would like to follow along with slides and you happen to have your phone in your pocket and you want to scan this QR code, please feel free. You aren't really going to miss anything without it. It mainly is to kind of remind me what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But there's resources and stuff on there for you to use. This is just something I've started doing because people always say, can we get the slides later? And I'm like, no, you can have them right now. Pause for a minute. I still see some phones. My name is Everin. As I said, I'm from Indianapolis. My pronouns are he, him, or they, them. Of the many things I do, my favorite thing is using Theater of the Oppressed as a tool for centering joy in organizing communities. There are so many different ways, right? There's like so many amazing tools that we have to bring people together. My background happens to be in theater and the performing arts. It was something that I always loved when I was a kid, and I grew up doing theater, eventually found Theater of the Oppressed, which really made me go like, oh, this is why I love theater. You know, it's less about wanting to perform and more about wanting to like have fun with people, wanting to use theater as a tool to investigate the issues that we are having in our communities and figure out what do we have together to be able to do something about all of this. So today we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to play a lot, and then have some time at the very end to kind of do a little debrief, do a little question, you know, if you have any questions or are curious about, you know, maybe ideas to apply it to work that you're doing. This is my goal for today, is to maybe give you some tools for your work, right? Maybe some games to play with the young people that you're working with. Maybe games to play with the adults that you're working with. I mean, like, I think some of us need it more than the children, honestly, because the kids know how to play, right? We forget. We're like, I don't do that anymore, right? Oh, wow, you can't read that from here at all. That's a cute picture from last year, though. Look, oh, it's everybody playing the game last year that we opened with. So Theater of the Oppressed is a practice that started in Brazil in the 50s and 60s. Augusto Boal was a theater practitioner from Brazil who had originally studied very traditional theater. Brought very traditional theater into some small communities in Brazil that were experiencing oppression. And there's one very powerful story that I can never not tell. And he was with a theater troupe that he had been working with, and they had put together a play about standing up to some really brutal police oppression that they were experiencing in Brazil. And the play showed community members from the favela preventing a very dangerous police raid, right? And ultimately protecting their community from people being arrested, things being stolen, right? Lots of corruption in a lot of those police raids, right? Often not just like, we're here for the bad guys. It's like, no, we're here for the people who are talking crap about us, right? But at the end of the play, they're bowing. It's a very traditional play. People are like, oh yeah, good job, good job. And someone came in from the back and said, okay, but we just found out they're on their way right now. Help us, right? To which the response was, hi, I'm so sorry, we are actors. We don't actually do the fighting thing, right? And they said, well, you have guns. Use your guns or give us the guns so that we can do the thing that you're telling us to do to stand up and protect ourselves and seek justice and all of that. And they're like, again, we are so sorry. These are not real guns, right? These are props. They're not made to work. And then the question was asked, well, then why are you here, right? Why are you here if you just want to tell us what to do and don't actually want to help us, right? And you know, the story goes that from then on, Augusto realized he could no longer use his work or his art to ask people to do things that he wasn't himself willing and able to do, right? Was no longer going to go into communities and say, this is how you should handle your problems. because he doesn't know, right? You don't really know. You can't prescribe onto a community what to do. They're the ones who are experiencing those harms. They're the ones who know what it feels like. They're the ones who know what their resources are. And so started developing tools and games and other things to instead facilitate that work from within the community itself. And so that's where all of the games and kind of practices and things we're going to get at today. You can sort of see from here, and again, I can pull up the QR code at the end if you want to get these slides again, if you didn't already. But there's a tree, right? It's the tree of the theater of the oppressed, and it's got different branches, and each part of it stands for a different part. There's lots and lots to do in Theater of the Oppressed. It's not just games. It's not just forum theater. There's also things like legislative theater and newspaper theater. So much we could get into that we won't be able to fit into our short time together today. But my goal is to kind of give like a broad overview of some tools and techniques that you all might be able to use. So this one thing I always say when I do this work with any group is that this work can sometimes feel therapeutic, but it is not therapy, right? And so whatever you need to do to protect your well-being, right? Please do. If we're sharing stories with each other, I always tell folks, again, because it's not therapy, I am not a licensed therapist. I'm sure there are some in this room, but they're not here for that. Not today, at least. So, I always suggest if we're sharing stories with each other, then we're maybe going, like, if we're like 0, this is the best day of 0% trauma, this is the best day of my life, 100% trauma, this is the worst day of my life. We're like maybe at a 10%. Right? Maybe at a 20%. We're not digging into the depths, especially, maybe if we were with a group for a long time and we had time to dive in and really get to know each other and trust each other, we can get deeper, right? But always a disclaimer that I give and always something that I encourage other people to share when they're doing this work with folks. And the second thing is we do a lot of movement stuff. I do my best to offer some adaptations, some offerings, if you want to sit and do it this way or that way. But again, listen to yourself, listen to your body. If there's an activity that you're like, I don't want to do this game, you're fine. I have 0 complaints, right? It is great even if you're just hanging out and listening and watching what's going on. So playing games. We play games because they're fun. We play games because they get us connecting to each other. Hopefully, often I try to do games that get us connecting even physically in some way as quickly as possible, right? Which is why I like starting with that good day game, where it's a very like low stress sort of way to touch another person. We don't do that very often. We don't get into physical contact with people we don't know very often, right? For lots of good reasons, but also like some sad reasons, right? And so I like to get people connecting and then making mistakes. That's the next piece, right? As quickly as possible, we want to start connecting, and as quickly as possible, we want to start making mistakes together. Because if we cannot make mistakes together and laugh at those mistakes and then keep making mistakes, we cannot do some of the really hard work that we need to be able to do, right? Because that's going to involve making a lot of mistakes. That's going to involve being wrong. It's going to involve looking dumb. It's going to involve feeling embarrassed. And those are things that we as a community as a whole aren't very good at. And so practicing is ideal. And then we can play games to talk about larger themes, right? Like power and power imbalances. So I'm going to jump into another game. Speaking of games we can use to talk about power. I would like you again to find a partner, maybe a new partner than you had last time, and face your partner. This is easier standing. You can also do this sitting. If you would like to sit, we can easily adapt. It just offers you some more options when you're standing. If you're going to sit, though, sit facing your partner in a chair or on the floor. If you're going to stand facing your partner. Establish between you and your partner who is partner A and who is partner B. Do you need a partner still? we can probably. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. So, you know who's partner A and who's partner B? Yes? And do we have a group of 3 here? That works too. Oh, okay. Actually, there we go. Okay. Partner B, I want you to put your hand up like this. Partner A, your goal is to keep your nose focused toward the center of your partner's hand. You don't need to get too close to it, right? You're not going to put your nose on their hand. And then if your hand is up, slowly start moving your hand around, right? And so your partner should be following that hand. And play with all of the room you have, right? You can go up, you can go down, you can go left, you can go right, you can go forward, you can go back. If you're standing, maybe even try to move your partner a little bit. You could take a few steps in one direction or other. Yeah. And the goal isn't to trick them. Don't try to lose them. Don't move too fast. All right, if your hand's up, go ahead and put it down, and we're going to switch. So if you led before, now you're going to follow, right? And vice versa. So if you were following with your nose before, put your hand up. If you were leading before, now your goal is to keep your nose right in the middle of that palm and go ahead and start moving.
Making a dance, Everin.
Yes. Okay, go ahead and stop. And now I want you to get into groups of 3. Get into groups of 3. So you might lose a partner, right? You might have to break up your group a little bit. And now, so groups of 3, group of 3, group of 3, group of 3. So let's have some groups of, we can have a group of 4. We can do a group of 4. So now what I want you to do is figure out who in your group has the earliest birth date in the year. If you are the one with the earliest birth date in the year, you are now the leader, and you're going to put up 2 hands. And now for this group, Who has the second earliest birthday? You do. Okay, so you're going to put up a hand. Who has the latest birthday? You're going to follow this hand. You're going to follow this hand. And you're going to follow this hand.
Okay.
Right?
Love to see
Okay.
it, yeah.
All right. So if one person will have two hands up. If you don't have any hands up, your nose is in the middle of one of those palms. And you're going to do the same thing. All right? Go ahead. Start moving your people. And I see a lot of like windshield wiper. My hands have to move together. You can move your hands in opposite directions too. Try moving one hand up and one hand down. Pushing one forward and one back. Move them around a little bit more. All right. Okay, let's come back together in our circle. Let's come back together in our circle real quick. A lot of these games I would normally play for a lot longer, right? I once did a workshop. This game is called Colombian Hypnosis. A lot of these games are named after the place where they were first played. So a lot of people were like, "Dude, that's kind of like weird that it's like, why is it Colombian?" Because it was played in Colombia probably for the first time. I've done a workshop once where we played this game for an entire. We played it for the entire workshop for like an hour. We were playing it straight, and there's different things you can do right with this game. But I'm curious. Do we have any? What were some of y'all's experiences with that game? What did it feel like? Whether you were leading or following, or what was that? You felt like you had the force. Does it felt powerful? Yeah. What else? It was more fun with more people. Tell me more about that. Yes, more control. You can bonk their heads together. You know, bonk.
It's really, it's really disarming and fun to meet somebody in that way.
Yeah.
Just suddenly doing this bizarre activity that you wouldn't normally be doing.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
I did feel like my asks were more reasonable than I made two people do it.
Oh.
Which says something about power.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you felt like you were trying to make them do harder things when it was just one person, and when it was two people, it was maybe a little bit easier on them. Okay.
It's like they have at least the camaraderie of doing it together.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Not for us. What was your experience?
Did you see that?
I did, yeah. Around and around.
No, she was like here.
Yep. I've done it before where I've been led across crawling across the table. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna crawl up here, whatever you say. So this is a type of game that we might play just talking about power and power dynamics and how it can be fun to wield power. It can be fun to follow. And then other times it can be a lot more difficult, right? Some things that I might do if we were playing this game for longer. And one of the things we did in this long workshop that we did this for like over an hour straight was then the facilitator came over and started whispering things and like new instructions in people's ears. And one of them was like going up to the person who was following and telling them, don't follow their hand anymore, right? And then all of a sudden there's a person who's like, right? And so you can kind of give new rules that then only one person hears, and then they're doing something differently because they got some special rules, right? They got some special treatment or some special attention, maybe good, maybe bad. And there's all sorts of things we can dive into when we start thinking about how different rules apply to different people, right? And then how that shows up and how that might benefit some people and not others. So we're gonna keep playing games, y'all. I gotta look at my list. I'm like, which game are we playing next? Okay, so this one is again with a partner. So find a new partner this time, and stand across from them. And this time, you are having a conversation with your partner, and the only things you can say are yes and no, right? So one partner, and again, this is an assigned, so the person who starts is going to start off with yes, and then the response is going to be no. And the response to that is going to be yes, right? And see what kind of a conversation you get out of just being able to say yes and no. Go for it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you have 3 people, you can pass it around. It'll change. Okay. I think it's okay for you guys to change.
Okay.
And so you get yes, no, and yes,
Oh, okay.
no,
Okay.
yes, no.
Okay.
And if you're saying yes, you really want the answer to be yes, right? And if your yes isn't working, try a different way to say yes. And if your no isn't working, try a different way to say no.
No. Yes.
Okay, switch. So if you've been saying yes, now you're saying no. If you've been saying no, now you're saying yes. And really picture something in your mind that you're trying to get from them, right? Go ahead. All right. We'll stop here. We'll stop here. Any just like initial this is what this was like for me responses?
Any parents in the room?
Did it feel like being a parent, having a conversation with your child?
Oh, maybe.
Yes. What else? You didn't like it? Why not? Made you feel weird. How?
I don't like trying to make people do things.
Okay.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. Felt icky trying to get somebody to do something, and then especially if they keep saying no, and you're like yes, yeah. That's like ugh, like I'm being pushy. Like ugh, that's awkward. Yeah.
I have like the opposite experience. I kind of liked being pushy. I'm like someone who used to be like a really big people pleaser, and like I've grown out of that. So just being able to be like no, and also like yes, I'm like that like just felt good.
So it helped you like just feel what it's maybe like advocating for yourself and being like these are my boundaries. Deal with it. Yeah, that's great. What else?
We both said we got tired of saying no. Like when we were both doing no, we just like didn't want to say no, and we both want to say yes, please. I was like yes, please.
Oh, like please. Yeah.
I thought it was fun and hilarious because you could say yes or no in different tones with different body language.
Yeah, and you can also say a yes that sounds like a no. Yeah, like you can be like, yes. And you can also say no that maybe sounds like a yes. You're like, no. Yeah.
I got really tired of saying yes, but I wasn't bothered by saying no.
Ooh, tired of saying yes, not bothered by saying no. Interesting. Yeah. Because sometimes for a lot of people, this is practice being able to say no to people, right? Yeah. What else?
It was really, first of all, it's hard to keep a straight face doing it,
Sure.
especially the more over the top ones. I started pulling out different languages. I'm like, what if I said it in Russian?
Ooh.
Let's
Yeah.
Just trying to find new ways to say it every time, so it wasn't just like the same thing. It was, and then matching Emma like tone for tone occasionally. It was pretty fun.
Nice. Yeah.
I think it's hard when you don't know somebody that you have to be careful not to be confrontational with what you're saying. So you
Ooh.
the body language and like I could tell sometimes she's kind of teasing, but also other times I'm like, yeah, well maybe I'm not gonna mess with Elite.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know somebody and you still have to like be like, no, I'm so sorry. The answer's no. Yeah.
Like with the comparison with the toddler, I started acting like a toddler. Like yes.
Yeah. It brings out that like little. Yeah.
I noticed when I was saying no, I like wanted to add more like change it and wanted to be like mean or angry, and I literally couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it out. I was like, I need to like say it like I'm angry, and I just couldn't do it.
Yes. Absolutely.
I did say no once at the stop sign.
Okay.
And one time I started to walk. I've had kids, so it's like, no, I'm done. And
Yeah.
that's the answer. Bye.
Yeah. I've also played this where, and the more you play these games, the more you can get into it, and then you play it with people who have played it, and it gets pretty. I've played this game where we've been chasing each other around a room, and somebody's walking away. I'm like, yes, and they're like, no, right? Like you can just like fully dive in. Interesting that I heard a few people say I wanted to say more than just yes or more than just no. There's another way that we play this game sometimes. We'll start doing this, and then the next stage of the game is coming up with an accusation, right? And maybe we'll do this just briefly. And the accusation is not a like you did this horrible thing, right? The accusation is usually something like I noticed you canceled the trans and non-binary poetry night for the book club. And that feels really disrespectful because that's the only night we get to have our trans and non-binary poetry night, and I don't understand why you made that decision. And so we established that that's a problem, right? And then the person's response is yes, but, right? And so where you have to say yes, but, you know, the book club's getting really popular, and not a lot of people have been showing up to the trans non-binary poetry night. And if there were more people coming, I wouldn't have to cancel it, but we also have to like sell coffee and stuff to stay open, and it's just the way it is, right? And so you get into this practicing of the yes but, right? Because there's always a reason. Somebody always has a reason as to why they're doing the thing that is oppressive, right? There's always a reason, and it's never just, I mean, sometimes it is just, I don't like you, right? But they're rarely gonna say that, right? We'll do a really short version of that one. So go back to your partner, and decide who wants to make the claim. And if you were, so if I am the person saying to you, you cancel trans non-binary poetry night and replace it with the book club that feels really targeted, you're going to say yes, but you have to see that, you know, that there's not really people showing up. And I'm going to say, well, people aren't showing up because, like, you do stuff like this. Like, you keep canceling it. If you keep changing the night that it's on, people don't know when to show up. And you're going to say, yeah, but, you know, and so you're going to go back and forth like that for a little bit, right? More challenging, right? More challenging than the yes, no. I won't make you do it for a long time. We'll just try a little bit of it. So with your partner, decide who's going to make the claim. And then once you've got it, go for it. Yes. Make up your own claim. Make up your own. I mean, you can use mine if you want, if that's relevant to you and that's like just easier. But like, no, like make up whatever one you want. All right, I said I would make you do that one for very long, so we'll go ahead and stop there. I'm glad I'm hearing some laughter, because that one can be stressful. How was that? Initial, like, quick responses from that activity. Made you feel argumentative? What else?
It was much more uncomfortable because you're saying something that maybe it's not life-ruining, but it's shitty.
Yeah.
So, and then this poor person, poor Emma, was like, I know I put all the mulch in that accessible spot, but I did it for a good reason.
Yeah.
And I don't think Emma would ever do that. So she's like reaching, she's like, I'm going to call my coworker.
Yeah.
For you.
Sure, yeah, yes.
It's uncomfortable. I do think it's easier to say it to a stranger than I would to somebody that I
Ooh, okay. So it's uncomfortable, but it's easier to do it to a stranger than maybe a real life situation where you might have to have this conversation with somebody. Yeah. Yeah, somebody that you like know well and you like respect and you're like, I don't want them to hate me because I messed up. Or I don't want them to hate me, but like I want them to fix this because they messed up. Yeah. Anything else?
The ability to, the human response that we have to match another person. You know, Kate is very even keel, very like I tried to rile her with the yes no. She's just like no, no. So I leveled the accusation, and she's like nah. Which you know, it's so interesting to see that tension, how much we can be, you know, respond in a reactive way to somebody with just the slightest inflection, and
Yeah.
how when they're level, you don't have as much
To work with. You know, you can't like grab onto that and be like, well, now you're being rude, so well, I don't even care anymore. Yeah, yeah. This is an activity that I'll often do to then start trying to move into scenes, right? And we, unfortunately, today don't have a lot of time to get into a lot of scene work that we would do in Theater of the Oppressed. But this is where we could take these conversations and then go, okay, well, who else is in the room, right? Who else has decision-making power in this space? Who else is impacted by this? And what do they look like in this scene, right? And then you put it together and see who has power, who is being oppressed, who is our protagonist, who's going to, you know, like fight for this. And then look at something that we're probably even experiencing in real life at work or something, and look at it together and look at who all is impacted by that and figure out how would you resolve something like that. So I'm going to jump into image work, and so usually we'll go from games to images and from images to scenes, and that is because one, right, we want to get comfortable playing with each other first, playing around, maybe not playing with each other, that's probably not the right word I should have chose. And we start with images before scenes because words sometimes get in the way. Right? Sometimes we don't have the words that we need to explain what the thing is, but we know what it looks like, and then we can look at it and then figure out what words belong to it. So if I can get 2 volunteers here in the center, please. Yes, 1, 2, perfect. And the 2 of you shake hands and freeze. Yes, okay. What do we see here? 2 people shaking hands. What else could this be? Why would they be shaking hands? They're making a deal. A truce. They just met. Hello, hi, nice to meet you. They're dancing. Do we have any guesses as to like if we were gonna very arbitrarily pick like who has power in this situation? Well, what would our guess be? The tall one. As a short person, I take offense to that. All right, so we can make some like general assumptions that, you know, maybe put something onto this. It's not there, right? Like they're literally just shaking hands, but we can start to put other things on top of this. Can I get another volunteer, please? Somebody, yes, stay here. Yes, come on up. Pick one of them, and you're gonna tap them on the shoulder, and then if you get tapped on the shoulder, you're gonna leave the scene. Otherwise, stay frozen. And what you're going to do is make this something different than a shaking hands, right? So go ahead.
With contact or not, or just
However you would like. Yeah. So we can kind of do this first one together. So pick one of them. So you're gonna leave. You're gonna stay, and then you are gonna do something else. What else could we make this scene into? And you're gonna freeze. Okay. All right. Perfect. Nope. You stay exactly how you were. Yes. Okay. Now what are they doing? Playing a game. What else could they be doing? Shadow puppets. What else? Who do we have any guesses? Can we make an assumption about who might have power in this situation? 2 hands. All right. Another volunteer. Come on up. We're going to do the same thing. Replace somebody, make it a new image. Okay, now what do we see? Checking for a fever. I heard something like measuring, maybe height measuring. Are we tall enough to ride this ride? What? Hiding something. Ooh, don't look. Yeah, like hiding, like you can't look that way. What else? Peekaboo. Who has power in this image? Person standing up. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, somebody else come in. Don't think too hard about it. Yeah. Okay, now what's happening? Being knighted? Ooh, yes. What else? Looking up to this person, yes. Being absolved, yes. Proposal gone wrong. Oh, no. Begging for forgiveness. Who has power in this image? The person standing. All right. I want one more person to come in and change this image, and I need this our poor friend here to be relieved of. I'm sure your arm is getting tired. Somebody come in and do one more replacement. Yes, so tap her shoulder. You're going to leave, and now make this a new image. Oh, now what do we see? Success, yes. Successfully absolved. I heard, okay, now I heard the whole thing. Okay, successful proposal. Huh? Prayer. Ooh, yes, like praying to a figure. Huh? Groveling. Huh? A concert, yes. Oh, I love you so much. Cheerleading, yeah. Ooh, depending on what the facial expression was like. Yeah. All right, both of you can drop this image. Now, I just want to make an image of, and I would like anyone and everyone to jump into this one. What does a zoo look like? Don't think too hard about it. Come into the middle. We're gonna make a zoo, and it's frozen. So find an image and freeze. I feel like if I stood in the middle and I was like, Simba. All right. I like our zoo. I like this. At the zoo. All right, let's do another one. And let's do this time a wedding. A wedding. Oh. All right. Now I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Now I want you to show me the nonprofit industrial complex. The nonprofit industrial complex, or just the nonprofits. What is it? What is it? What's your nonprofit look like? Stay where you are and kind of look around out of the corner of your eye and see kind of what other people look like. And I'm going to count to 3. And when I count to 3, I want you to point to the person in the scene who you think has the most power. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, okay. I see some different directions, but the main thing I see is pointing here. What might we assume this person's job is? The executive director. What? The marketing director. The funder. President of the board. Yeah. So we're running out of time a little bit here. So so then what we might do with something like this is figure out, right? We decided who might have the most power. Then we might decide who our protagonist is in the scene, right? And then from there we can start giving them lines to say. What are they saying to each other? What do we want? Who are the other people in the scene? Right? And it's a really like low effort way to start making a scene happen. Because you don't have to stand around and go, now you do this and you say that and I'm going to be this person and you be that. Because we're all just deciding who we're going to be without needing to just like, right? We don't have to have any discussion. And then we can put this together, right? And then we can start deciding what is it that we're going to do. And then we can get into some other exercises of how do we get this to somehow go to all of these people as well, right? What needs to change in this image? What would need to change in this image? So let's go back to the image that we just made. What needs to happen here to start changing this image? I see lots of like people on the ground. I see a handful of people standing up. We need some intervention over here. Yeah, maybe reaching down and lifting people up instead of the arms being straight up. Yeah. I see some people typing. Maybe if they didn't have to type so much, they also could be doing some reaching out, right? Yeah. Untie, yes, yeah. So we'll go ahead and we'll stop the activities here, and we can just kind of move into some final discussions. I'm curious. And just some final slides here. So this. You might have seen this before if you've done a workshop with me. This ends up in a lot of my slides. This is a beautiful stained glass window. And on this stained glass window, it says, "Cooperation releases abundance." Right? We have a lot as a community, right? One of the things that makes us feel like we don't is how separated we are from each other. But if we have an opportunity to really put our ideas, our thoughts, our resources together, we have a lot more than what we had by ourselves when we started. And then the last little quote I have up here is from Augusto Boal, and it is forbidden to walk on the grass. It is not forbidden to fly, right? When we can start playing games and using our imagination and being silly and making mistakes together, we can start thinking of new ways to get from point A to point B. And just because the sign says don't walk on the grass doesn't mean you can't fly over it or skip over it or pick somebody up and carry them over it, right? And then this last slide here is some resources that has some of these games in them. My email address is on here, which you also have on the list. But thoughts, questions, what do y'all got?
When I was in high school, I know of like many people who participated in theater. And they're like, oh, I love theater. They're always so happy, have good energy every day. They're like skipping in the room, skipping out. And I just like really like never understood like the art of it. But this was like my first time actually doing a lot of theater and a lot of role play. I'm a major in social work, so we have done role play before, one-on-one clients or groups or whatnot. But as far as like releasing that energy, being silly and having fun, it definitely feels good to work. I feel like it's a like meditation thing to me. It's just relaxing, kind of like yoga.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. I just think we just gotta play, right? Like it's just like it's so powerful to be silly. Any other thoughts, feedback, questions? I know everybody's like, this has been such a long day. I've learned so many things today. Well, I'm not running away. I'm going to stick around a little bit. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them to me. I'm also always excited to hang out with somebody and, think through like what are some things that like I could do with my group, or we're trying to talk about X, Y, or Z subject. What are some maybe games we could play to kind of work through that or talk about that as a group? I'm happy to be that resource. And I also love coming and hanging out and playing with new groups of people. So please keep in touch. Please find ways to play and be a little goofy and silly the rest of your week. Tomorrow's Halloween. You can't not be a little bit goofy, right? And thanks. Yeah, thanks for closing out the day with me. I appreciate all of you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Everin. Everin brought some play to the end of our day. Thank you so much. Oh, the power and possibility of play. That's pretty cool. This wraps the session portion of our day. I'll let you know what's next. If you care to stick around and talk about what supports parents, because we know parents are influenced by childhood conditions and parents influence childhood conditions. We've got the Parent Support Affinity Group happening in Duke West. We welcome you to please fill out an evaluation form. We really do use those every year to adjust what we provide. We've got CEU forms as well. Ruth here can take your evaluation forms if you like on your way out. Your CEU forms, she's happy to collect too, or you can drop them off downstairs. We hope at some point today you've been able to take some time out of your regular schedule to think about power and possibility as it relates to the conditions of children in our community. And we thank you so much for sharing your day with us. We'll be sending out some stuff to you via email, as you might expect, which will also include the contact list. But if you haven't had a chance to make connection with folks that you meant to touch base with today, we've got plenty of spaces for that to happen. You're welcome to hang out in here or downstairs, and I'm headed to Duke West to do the Parenting Affinity Group. Thanks, everybody.